watching America Trends. I'm Mary Burt-Godwin. We have a very special guest on next. She is an international Forbes featured business mentor and wealth activator for women, self-made multimillionaire and leader in money evolution work for women. Her work has been featured in major publications, including Forbes, Entrepreneur, and Authority magazine. She is a seven-figure business mentor. Welcome to America Trends, Leanne Lopez Mosley.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Hello, nice to meet you. We're kind of twinning today in our talks. So, okay, where are you zooming in from?
So I'm in Jupiter, South Florida.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're across the country here from us.
Yes, but originally from across the pond. So I'm actually British originally.
I was wondering, I recognize the accent there. So,
yeah.
And so, okay, talk to me. I was looking through all of your stuff last night. And so the seven-figure business mentor, and then the word that pops up on your website and on your Instagram is potent visibility. And I love that term. So I was wondering if you can do a deep dive into that and the seven-figure potent visibility concept.
Yeah, I love this topic. And right now I'm running a program dedicated to just this topic for this reason, because visibility online, I think a lot of people talk about how noisy the online space is.
Yep.
And there's a reality to the fact that if you want to stand out now online, you need to be more potent than ever before. And when I talk about potency, I simply mean people being visible in a way that's very authentic to them and their brand, and that actually stands for something, believes in something that is going to get them noticed and not just make them part of the noise, but stand out from the noise. And this is where you can really begin to make a name for yourself in the industry, even if you're somebody with a very small following.
So what are some of, you can't give away all your secrets because you want people to sign up for your courses, but tell me about, we have someone on the show also who speaks about authenticity in the social media space. And I know what you mean there. It's really important these days because it is so saturated, social media, and people just scroll and are finicky with what they want to watch. So, what are some of the tips that you give people on how to, number one, find that authentic, potent voice? And then, how many, do you talk about how many times they should post, or is it really just quality over quantity?
Yeah, and I definitely think that with everything with business, it's always a quality over quantity. But that being said, there's a reality to the fact that if you want to be seen in the online space, you need to be consistent. And one of the first questions I ask many of the people that come into my world is the people that you love to consume and that you buy from, how active are they? How much are they posting? And what is it about what they're posting and sharing that makes you want to stay in their world and ultimately buy from them? And for me, when it comes to the tips around potent visibility, the first thing is understanding what are the three core pillars of your brand. What do you stand for? What do you believe in? And really being willing to be fully seen and not be for everybody is where the potency really comes from. Because when you just try and be liked by everyone and please everybody in the online space, you do fall into the noise. And the people online that are really winning in the online space are the people that are focusing on their leadership and standing for something. And it really being authentic is when that's actually something you believe, that's actually something that you stand for, and really being willing to stay in your lane and not feel the need to mimic what everybody else is doing in the online space.
And I see a bullet here that's like why followers doesn't equal money. And I think that there was in the beginning of social media, in the inception of it all, people chasing the follower count and the like count and people buying followers. But then that never translates into sales, into ROI, into trusted followers, and your message gets lost. So I love this concept of staying, picking a lane and sticking to it and being really true to that audience and caring who your followers are. It might be way less than the person next to you, but if they are really engaged in what you're talking about, they're the ones that you're going to capitalize on.
Yeah, and it's the right followers. And there was a lot of push in the online space about going viral and that more equals more. But there's a reality to the fact that there are many people with gigantic audiences that are not making money. And there are many examples, myself included, of people with very small audiences, but very highly engaged, highly connected audiences. And for me, sustainability in business is everything. I would much rather build a business from someone finds me, buys from me, and loves me and stays with my brand and keeps buying from me than just filling my Instagram with people that don't really care what I have to say, and actually in turn hurting your engagement in the process.
Right, absolutely. And this reminds me of a conversation we were talking about people, someone was on here talking about LinkedIn and the potency of LinkedIn for certain demographics and certain businesses. And, you know, people get caught up in the TikTok concept of, you know, pointing to the videos, spending time on that. But the engagers and users on TikTok are not the people that are going to be buying your $1,000, $2,000 courses. So why waste time there, right?
Yeah, and I have a lot of clients that come to me with very big TikTok followings that are not making any money. And again, TikTok is very focused on going viral, on numbers, but it's vanity metrics. And for me, when it comes to business, it's about your bottom line. How much is your conversion rate? How many of these people are staying with you? So I think there is a big shift in the industry that's moving away from the vanity and into actually what matters, which is building a brand and connecting with the human being on the other side of that sale.
And I like one thing I saw on your feed was I don't chase, I attract. And there's a phrase I say, attraction versus promotion. It's like, you want to not, because everyone's trying to sell you something. So instead, just be who you are, say what you want to say, and then the people that are going to be attracted to who you are and what you want to talk about, they're going to be the ones that are going to follow you, right? And care about it and convert.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where the potency comes in, because when you really stand for something, when you really believe in it and you fully believe in it and you embody that work and you speak about it from that place of passion and you share content and everything online in alignment with that, people, the right people, your people will be magnetized to you. And that's where the conversion comes from. And that for me is where authenticity is so important, because if you're just simply mimicking what everybody else is doing, people feel it. And that's why you won't convert. And I often talk to people how I don't do sales calls. I don't do many of the things that has been historically taught. And the reason is when you use potent visibility, it's attraction marketing. The way you are attractive to anyone is by being confident, being certain, having conviction about who you are and what you stand for.
So I want to talk to you about something I saw that I think it was a video you shared, and you talked about you had a kind of shift in the way you saw all of this and what brought you to this. And I don't know if it was 2022 or around there, and maybe you had a kid or something. And so I want to just go back to that, and what were you doing and then what kind of led you to that shift to bring you to this 7-figure business mentor?
Yeah, so I built my business in a way that everybody taught. I learned from people, and I thought that was the right way. And in 2022, I had my second child, Lennox, and I realized that my system wasn't sustainable and it really wasn't that scalable. And him coming meant that it kind of forced me off a ledge into setting fire to everything I was currently doing in my business. And I realized very quickly that if I wanted to continue making money in my business, I needed to shift everything that I was doing, including my messaging and being willing to be fully seen. I'm going to be honest. I think I was playing it safe. I was being very vanilla. And when I really asked myself, what do I stand for? What do I believe in? All the things that we're talking about today, and began to show up from that energy and actually sell things that I'd been wanting to sell and do the things that I've been wanting to do, and effectively be willing to do things my way and not the way that I'd necessarily been taught or learned in the online space. That's where the 7 figures in the year that I had a baby and stopped doing everything I'd historically done happened. And on paper, it was illogical. And yet it made so much sense to me because who I was being was completely different. And that's where the results really came from. And that's why people were magnetized to me and what I was doing.
So do you have examples of what that was like? I'm just trying to wrap my head around giving our audience ways to, because I think we talk about being authentic a lot in this big overwhelming arch, but what really does it mean? You know, I know in sometimes of your videos you're dropping some F-bombs and you're speaking probably how you talk to your friends, right? Who you really are, which I think is really part of your brand, and I can see it is very clear. But you know, is that something you weren't doing before, or what are some of those shifts?
I mean, I think I still was very much myself, but I was a much more safe version of myself. And it was more what I was selling, the way that I was selling it, and ultimately the types of things that I was sharing. There was content that I would want to share that I wouldn't, because I knew it was going to be triggering for people. I knew that not everybody would love it. And I think I was moving from a very rigid system and a rigid way of like, you should share like this. Don't share too much value, share value, but stop, and then make sure that people buy. And in 2022, I really really threw the coaching rule book out of the window. And I asked myself, like, what would I be sharing and what do I share to my paid clients? What are the conversations that I have with the people that are in my world that know and love me? Let's have more of those conversations, and let's be willing to not be for everyone. And that's okay. And it actually is going to serve me. And it made everything easier in my business, including showing up and including the content that I shared, when I just gave myself the full permission to be me. And that includes the way that I speak and the things that you're referring to.
Yeah. Well, I think it's great because, so many people, there's so self-imposed rules in social media and all these things that we don't need to abide by. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. Leanne Lopez Mosley. You can be found at Instagram at the Leanne Lopez Mosley, Mosley. Everyone go check Leanne out. Thank you so much for being here. 7-figure business mentor. Let's all check her out, you guys. And everyone at home, thank you for watching America Trends. We will be back right after this quick break.